Jessica Pegula can equal one of Maria Sharapova's tennis records at Indian Wells this week. Jessica Pegula is on track to match Maria Sharapova if she makes it all the way to the semi-finals of Indian Wells. WTA number 5 Pegula is the 5th seed at Indian Wells, where she is already into the third round after knocking out Donna Vekic. Vekic shocked the American by winning the first set of their second-round match, but Pegula recovered to win 4-6, 6-2, 6-3 after 1 hour and 55 minutes. The home favorite, who lost her doubles opener with compatriot McCartney Kessler, will now take on Jelena Ostapenko in the round of 32. Jessica Pegula can match Maria Sharapova's semi-final run. Pegula entered Indian Wells on the back of a very successful run at the Dubai Tennis Championships, where she lifted the trophy. There, the American reached a 7th successive WTA semi-final, and will now be looking for something similar in California. And if she does, she will become the first player to reach 8 consecutive semi-finals since WTA legend Maria Sharapova. The Russian superstar, who won 5 Grand Slam titles during her glittering career, managed the feat from Beijing 2012 through Madrid 2013. Jessica Pegula vs Jelena Ostapenko H2H before Indian Wells clash. It certainly won't be an easy feat for Pegula, who must first make it past former French Open champion Ostapenko at Tennis Paradise. Her fantastic semi-final run started back at the US Open in 2025, and doesn't include the recent ATX Open as she withdrew from the tournament before it started. The American has been smart with her schedule in 2026 so far, and has achieved great success despite Pegula dealing with a long-term injury. Focus now turns to Ostapenko, with whom she has a 3-2 head-to-head record, which stands at 2-1 on hard courts. Jessica Pegula is America's best chance of Indian Wells success. Pegula is a 10-time champion on the WTA Tour, but has never clinched the title on home soil at Indian Wells. She is joined in this year's third round by fellow Americans and fellow top 10 players Coco Gauff and Amanda Anisimova. Both players face intriguing ties in California, with Gauff taking on Alexandra Ila and Anisimova meeting Emma Raducanu. American women endured a nightmare start to Indian Wells, but home hope also remains in the form of Madison Keys and Ashlyn Kruger. Keys faces Sonia Cardle as Kruger plays Alina Svitolina, but given her form, Pegula remains America's best chance of an Indian Wells champion. Jessica Pegula chasing a desert dream. Can she equal Maria Sharapova's Indian Wells record? Every March, the tennis world turns its eyes toward the California desert for one of the sport's most beloved tournaments, Indian Wells Open. Known for its electric atmosphere, pristine courts, and passionate crowds, Indian Wells has often been called the 5th Grand Slam. Over the years, many legends have etched their names into its history. Among them stands Maria Sharapova, whose dominance and resilience left a lasting legacy at the tournament. Now, more than a decade after Sharapova's peak years in the desert, another star is quietly building her own story. Jessica Pegula, known for her consistency, tactical intelligence, and calm determination, arrives at Indian Wells with a chance to equal one of Sharapova's notable tournament records. If she succeeds this week, Pegula will not only add another milestone to her career but also connect her name with one of tennis's most iconic champions. This possibility has sparked excitement among fans and analysts alike. Could Pegula match a record set by Sharapova, one of the most recognizable figures in modern tennis? And what would that achievement mean for Pegula's growing legacy? The legacy of Maria Sharapova at Indian Wells. When discussing Indian Wells history, the name Maria Sharapova often surfaces. The Russian superstar rose to fame in the early 2000s with her fierce competitiveness, powerful ground strokes, and unmistakable presence on court. Sharapova's career is filled with extraordinary achievements. She captured 5 Grand Slam titles, spent weeks as the world's #1 player, and became one of the most influential athletes in global sport. Yet beyond the majors, tournaments like Indian Wells played an important role in shaping her legend. At Indian Wells, Sharapova was known for her ability to thrive under pressure. She consistently produced deep runs, thrilling crowds with her aggressive baseline style and relentless focus. Her matches often turned into dramatic battles, demonstrating the mental toughness that defined her career. Over multiple appearances in the California desert, Sharapova built a record that became a benchmark for excellence. The mark she set, one that Pegula could now equal, represents a rare combination of consistency, stamina, and high-level performance at one of tennis's toughest events. Sharapova's connection to Indian Wells also carries emotional depth. The tournament witnessed both her triumphs and her resilience during difficult moments. That mixture of success and perseverance is part of what makes her legacy there so memorable. Jessica Pegula's rise in modern tennis. While Sharapova's career belongs largely to the previous era, Jessica Pegula represents the strength and evolution of the current generation. Pegula's path to the top of the sport has been different from many tennis stars. She was not immediately labeled a prodigy, nor did she dominate the junior circuit in the way some champions did. Instead, her ascent has been steady, patient, and built on continuous improvement. Over the past few seasons, Pegula has become one of the most reliable players on the women's tour. She regularly reaches the later stages of tournaments, often defeating higher-ranked opponents with her intelligent shot selection and remarkable consistency. Her style is not based on overwhelming power alone. Instead, Pegula thrives on precision, timing, and court awareness. She reads opponents well, adapts to changing match situations, and rarely allows frustration to disrupt her focus. These qualities have made her a formidable competitor in high-level tournaments like Indian Wells. Why Indian Wells matters? The significance of Indian Wells cannot be overstated. Officially known as the BNP Paribas Open, the tournament is one of the most prestigious stops on the tennis calendar outside the Grand Slams. Held annually in Indian Wells, California, the event draws the world's best players and enormous global attention. Its massive stadium, the largest in tennis outside the Grand Slams, creates an atmosphere unlike any other regular tour event. Winning matches here is notoriously difficult. The desert conditions, dry air, slower courts, and swirling winds test every aspect of a player's game. Success at Indian Wells requires endurance, patience, and tactical intelligence. For Pegula, matching Sharapova's record at such a demanding venue would highlight her ability to perform consistently against the sport's elite. A record within reach. Records in tennis often serve as bridges between generations. When a current player equals or breaks a mark set by a past champion, it reminds fans of the sport's continuity, how each era builds upon the last. Sharapova's record at Indian Wells has stood as a symbol of sustained excellence. To equal it, Pegula must demonstrate the same qualities that defined Sharapova's performances: composure, resilience, and the ability to raise her level when the stakes are highest. Pegula's recent results suggest she is